We're back, YouTube. Sorry, it's been quite a while. It's been probably about 2 weeks, almost 3 weeks since I've done another video. We've been dealing with some shit, really. Some diagnosis, a lot of little tiny shit, boost box issues, spark plug issues, how to hook up the wastegate. There's a couple different ways to route your max solenoid. We were almost at the point of just getting rid of the boost box and the max solenoid because it's too much electrical fuckiness for me, having to swap signals and change and shit like that. So there is an option of doing a manual boost controller, which is what we might end up doing. I'm very close to actually having this done, run and flash on a good, I don't know, 20 or so pound map. We had to change the map sensor. Tried 3 or 4 different plugs because it was doing nothing but breaking up every time you get into boost. Throwing 30 FF. Then it threw an oxygen sensor code, so we ended up having to change an oxygen sensor. I'll tell you that the long plug on I think I already addressed it, but the long plug for on the harness of the car for the oxygen sensors is bank 1. The short one is bank 2. But where I fucked up was I thought bank 1 sensor was the gray sensor. It's not. Bank 1 sensor 1 is the black sensor. Bank 2 sensor 1 is the gray sensor. So black sensor goes into your very forward part of your manifold and to the long part of your engine harness. And then obviously the same for the gray on the back. I had a small oil leak from the oil feed line fitting on the block. You really got to crank that plug that's in there right nice and tight. Put some thread tape on it. If you could see it, it was definitely leaking. None of these seem to be leaking yet. I did run copper brake line to my wastegate because there's too much heat and I don't want to have to worry about the vacuum line deteriorating and collapsing and fucking with boost pressures and vacuum readings and actuation for the wastegate, yada yada yada. So you can see I have the gray sensor hooked up to where am I? The forward manifold. And it's backwards, so I still gotta do that. This is the exhaust. It really doesn't fit all that well. I don't know. He's got a really nice exhaust. It's I forget who makes it. I don't know if we can read that. Active. Really nice, but it just doesn't fucking line up with this downpipe. None of the bolt holes, not even close. You know what I mean? So I gotta cut these, rotate them, put them on there, weld the exhaust back on. Man, we've dealt with a bunch of different like stupid small shit that is just very frustrating. It makes you feel like you're not getting anywhere. You're an idiot, you know, what the fuck did I do wrong, yada yada yada. I've joined a couple of Facebook groups to try to get some support that way. And I'll tell you, from what I've gathered, as soon as people flash their car with MHD, they start dealing with misfire issues. I don't know what it is. I don't know if the tuning's calling for better, it needs better spark or whatever it is, but there's many different plug options for the N54. There's Champions, Bosch, NGK. Bosch is, if I'm right, Bosch is not my favorite at all. It's a 3-prong, not very gappable. Don't run them. Don't even waste your fucking money on them. That's a stock plug. I'd have to lower the lift, but I do have 2 different NGK spark plug numbers. I got the very coldest NGK spark plug that I could find. I want to say it's 97506 is the part number, and then the other one is a 4288 or something like that. They're both for the BMW, and they're just different heat ranges. So we're going with the 97506 because I think that's what everybody seems to be having good luck with. They're about 21 bucks a piece, 22 bucks a piece. Do not mess around, gap them correctly. Start at 25 and work your way down. If you put them in it with the spark plug gap at 25, you go out and you pull and it starts breaking up, it's not there. Stop, just fucking stop. Pull the plugs out, close the gap up a little bit to about 21, 20, 18 even if you have to. Because these single turbos, they're moving a lot of air in there, and it's very easily for them to blow out the spark. So we're gonna go with the NGKs at a 21 gap, 0.021. I do have the champions still here because those are actually like $4 a plug, and they're a copper core. That's what I'm used to running for turbo and setups like that. Is the cheapest fucking plug you can find, which is a copper core, and you gap it, and they run great. You run too hot of a plug, you start burning shit up, leaning shit out. You don't want to do it. So that's what we've been doing. We've been dealing with a bunch of different shit. I've been making shit I made an intake, engine cover. I deleted the coolant reservoir because I don't want to have to mess around trying to find a mounting for the expansion tank, So I'm gonna make just an overflow out of like a monster can or something like that. I did find, I wanna show you guys, so if you have an all-wheel drive 6-speed, this is something else I've discovered through the forums and chatting with a bunch of other different people that have N54s. So consider yourself lucky that if you have an all-wheel drive and you have the normal PCV issue like everybody else does on the N54s, your all-wheel drives have a top plug right there in your oil pan, which I would assume is some sort of hole for would be a dipstick tube, which is what I think. So I ran it. I'm using it as lower block ventilation, and I teed it into my PCV can up top. So that's gonna really, really take away from the duty of the PCV cycle, duty cycle up top. And obviously we all know these N54s, the block ventilates through the ports that are built into the head, up through the valve cover. It's a stupid, stupid design, and I'm really, really glad that I found that plug, because that's really gonna even out the lower and upper pressure, and really everything's gonna flow nice. So I'm not doing shit. This car's not even starting and leaving until it's flashed, ready to go, and we're ready to go to the dyno. We had it out for about a week on a base map. Had, like I said, changed map sensor, dealing with a bunch of different shit that was just very, very, very frustrating. Coils, dielectric grease, seriously. You will end up fucking up coils left and right. Put your heat shields in your valve cover. Get the right coil. There's a couple of different coil options. I actually want to do the upgraded, they look like almost R32 coils that, I think it's Precision, something like that. They make an aftermarket coil set that is a higher amperage coil, and they bolt its individual coil for each cylinder, and they bolt onto the intake side of your motor, and then you have plug wires that run over to your plugs. So now your coils are away from your heat, and I'd really like to invest in that. It's like 380 bucks, and probably one of the best. I think where these N54s are seriously temperamental when it comes to spark and needing to be right where they need to be. I think I even might put my own money into it and buy that system for them. But we've got a couple of different things. Let me hit pause. I'm gonna lower this so I can cover some stuff on top. Again, I'm sorry. I've just been very, very frustrated with this car. It's nickel and diming us, big time. Nickel and diming us, which is typical to a turbo build. You have to be ready. Yeah, you can bolt up anything you want, but you gotta make it run. You gotta have the right stuff, the right parameters, the right everything. So don't mess around. If you plan on doing something like this, plugs, wires, oil, everything. Make sure everything is, your ducks are counted. You don't wanna mess around, do shit twice, burn rings up. Don't fuck around. So I did get the rotors installed, all of them, all the way around. I got, let's see, the adjustable coil, sway bar links on, new control arms in the rear, and this is what I did to delete the expansion tank. This hose, obviously, let me see if I can slip this. This hose right here is obviously going bye-byes. That's what I used. This goes from here up into the bottom of your expansion tank normally. So what I did was I just bought some of these and plugged it. And then once I lower it, I'll show you what I did up top. I'll get right back with you. Okay, so I'm at the point right now of wiring up the boost gauges and the air fuel gauges that come with the kit, which are actually pretty nice. They link together. One's got I think the boost gauge is the one that has the shift light on it. They link together. They're pretty cool. You can set, I don't know. They didn't come with the actual flat plate mounting bracket, so I gotta figure out something for that. Oh, yeah. These are the two different plugs right here. Fucking self-remote. N54 ON3 sorry. I'm returning these ones. They're not a 14 millimeter 12 point like these are. It's a 6.16 millimeter, and you need some sort of like special socket to get it in there, like a really, really thin wall socket. So don't fuck with these ones. Just go with your 97506. Let's see, where are we at? Oh, this was a new purchase by Mr. Brown himself, 1932 Ford. Pretty fucking beautiful, I must say. So this is where we're at. I deleted the expansion tank, put in an inline fill, and we're just gonna run this to some sort of can that will just catch fluid, or I'll just fucking dump it down there or something, I don't know. Let's see. This is for the this is for your air fuel gauge. I put the max solenoid over here. I redid all the vacuum lines. The only actual vacuum that you have coming off of the motor, let me get my light, is right there on that port. Super small. I don't like this intake. I'd really like to get the updated manifold, the port injection, like I said. So yeah, there is two map sensors. We replaced this one. We have yet to replace this one. We might end up replacing that just to be safe. I mounted the boost box over here on the intake manifold just to keep everything away from the heat, as opposed to being over there. This is the tube coming up from the oil pan up into your valve cover routing, and I'm just gonna dump it atmospherically. And then we have this tube, the Mishimoto, for your PCV, and it reroutes into your throttle body. And that was more along the lines of when we were dealing with the smoking issues and hoping that we could, that the the pressures weren't being burnt off or preheated enough before, so it's kind of like a reroute system to try to do all that bullshit. But I think that seems how we got that crankcase ventilation down there. We're good. Water meth is hooked up. I used the ON3 Performance vacuum line block. I went straight from here to here, and then blow off valve. This is let's see. This is this one's a snow controller, and this is the boost gauge with an air filter and your map sensor. Excuse me. Let's see. This filter is really gay, cheap. Don't use them. It's like a Spectre from like VIP or something like that that just normally sits right here. Don't use them. Those inside metal pieces are junk. They will come off and fuck your turbo up. Don't mess around. 4-inch, 3-inch, 90-degree elbow. Oh, this is the tube. That can go bye-bye now. I re-ran all my lines up back in behind here. All new coils, plugs. I have yet to wrap these in some sort of like a loom or anything like that, because let me get rid of these. What I'm actually doing is I made my own engine cover. So there's this. It's all stainless steel. I'm gonna polish it up. Don't let the looks of it right now fool you. But it goes, you know, bolts on you. I made it so it bolts on your valve cover. I probably have it back. Oh yeah, over here. So it bolts there like that. And then this goes here. Something like these wires are gonna get tucked into here and go down there. This sits there. And that's gonna sit there. Obviously you can feel the gist of it. And I definitely wasn't digging the IAT temperatures over there. Not a fan of it at all, so I'm making my own. Don't like pie cuts, not a huge fan of pie cuts, but unfortunately in order to do it, you have to.